6 o'clock, time for the regularly scheduled planning and zoning meeting, Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. If we could have a roll call, please.
Commissioner McDaniel.
Present.
Commissioner Aguilar.
Here.
Commissioner Lassard.
Here.
Commissioner McCornack.
Here.
Commissioner Henderson.
Here.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Here.
And Chair Story is absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Steve, if you would mind swearing everyone in, please.
Yeah, if you're going to give testimony this evening, please stand and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under penalty of perjury. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up is approval of tonight's agenda. If I could have a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second. A motion by Jana and a second by Jesse to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up is approval of last meeting's minutes. If everybody could look at those and then give us a motion when we're ready.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Saul and a second by Jesse to approve the minutes from the December 20th, 2022 Planning and Zoning meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. On to our public hearing items. Only one case tonight, case 23-001 variance. If I could have a motion to waive the reading of the finding of facts, please. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Jesse and a second by Janet to waive the readings of the finding of facts for case 23-001. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Kevin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the Commission. Tonight's one and only public hearing is a variance request to an existing cannabis facility. This is 2303 North Main Street Dreams Dispensary, which is one of our more recent approvals, but they've come back tonight to ask for a variance for their operating hours. Again, the request is for a variance for the established hours of operation. This is an adult use, a recreational and medical cannabis facility located at 2303 North Main Street, Suites 101 and 102 in what's known as Cass Plaza now. Okay. I wanted you guys to all notice our wonderful staff photographer now is going out and taking pictures of all these places, so we're not using Google Earth or anything. We've got somebody going out and actually, so you get the latest and best from your staff, from your team here. Okay. Just a location map on the Chavez County map, and then of course the City of Roswell zoning map. This is one of the few dispensaries we have in town that is fully approved with a C2 zoning. There is R3 to the east. However, there is nothing constructed at this point. It's all vacant land. Okay. Again, the proposed cannabis establishment, they are leasing space within Cass Plaza. On April 5th, 2022, the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Division issued a vertically integrated cannabis establishment license to FCI of New Mexico. That is the parent company of Dreams Dispensary. Okay. On September 27th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of their case to the City Council by a vote of 6-1. And then on October 13th, the very next month, City Council approved the zoning case 7-2. They've been in operation ever since and have been operating legally and, from what I understand, doing a reasonably good business. Okay. Dreams is requesting a variance to extend the hours of operation of an adult-use retail cannabis establishment authorized and established by the City Council. Now, their current hours of operation, again, established by the City Council in order to provide a level playing field for all of our cannabis dispensaries, are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then Sunday, 11 to 5. Dreams Dispensary is requesting hours of operation Saturday or Sunday through Saturday, basically 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it would be a significant increase in the available hours. We're looking at 3 hours for 18 hours plus another 5, so about an additional 23 hours a week, assuming I can do math in my head. Okay. Mr. Cody Fisher is here this evening. He's right behind me. There he is. He drafted a letter of justification. You should have a hard copy of it. It was also available in your packet, I believe on pages 23 through 25 of the Commission's agenda packet. That provides the information with which you will make this decision on. Okay? As of today's date, the Planning and Zoning Office has received 0 written protests and 0 inquiries on these changes of hours. Okay? Now, slightly different directions on this. Number one, this is a variance request. Okay? A variance request is a discretionary act. You act at your discretion. Okay? There is very little that you can hang your hat on except for the information that you gain through this public testimony and the information that comes from staff and in the field, which is why, again, I refer back to this letter that Mr. Fisher put together and provided you with some data on some of the surrounding businesses. So staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission hold this public hearing tonight and take testimony to be provided by both the project proponents and opponents, if there are any, and then make a motion to recommend to the City Council. You actually have 4 possible recommendations. Okay? You can recommend for approval as presented. You can recommend for denial based on current trends, or you can make a recommendation of no recommendation and go ahead and move it forward. The last possible item is based on the testimony and the discussion that you all have. It is quite possible you could vote to amend the hours of operation some way different than what's being presented here. Okay? However, ultimately, whatever recommendation you make will go forward to the City Council. The City Council is the final will make the final determination on the variance request. Giving you just a little bit more information. First of all, you cannot consider economics in your decision-making process. You can only consider the time that's allowed and its impact, potential impact on the surrounding neighborhood. Okay? The reality is, unfortunately, as we have seen, in fact, we just got the information from the state on the December sales and December revenue, down nearly 20%, month over month. Okay? It went up rather quickly, June, July, August, flatlined through November, and then went down in December. Can only assume people were buying Christmas gifts rather than buying cannabis. Okay? But we don't want you to take the economics into this situation. This is purely an issue of hours of operation, and you have to determine whether or not an extension of the hours of operation will in fact be beneficial or detrimental to the surrounding community. In this particular case, it is the surrounding business community. You don't have any residential areas immediately adjacent. So that would be your basic consideration. Okay? And again, you can make a motion for approval as presented, denial, a recommendation for no recommendation, or you can modify the recommendation and send it forward. Okay? That ends my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Any questions for Kevin?
Question? Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Kevin, if we approve this, won't the rest of the cannabis businesses come in and ask for the same hours? In other words, aren't we kind of opening a can of worms here that if one guy gets it, all the rest of them are going to want it? And maybe not totally, but I mean, if we do this, then it just seems like it'll be obvious that we'll be inundated by everybody else wanting the same hours.
Yeah. I posed that exact same question to the city attorney in trying to determine how we were going to bring this forward. Initially, we were thinking we would bring this forward as an amendment to the conditions of approval. If we amended the conditions of approval, though, by default, it's quite possible that sends a message that all other cannabis facilities would automatically get the same benefit. After discussing it with the city attorney, he said, no, we want to go through the variance process for each one of these. We want them to make their own case because we do have a number of these facilities that back up immediately adjacent to residential. I mean, within, either across the alley or immediately adjacent to residential, some of the existing. It may or may not be appropriate to extend hours in some of these others. So, will others come forward? My guess is absolutely yes. We've already had 3 other inquiries about the possibility of extending hours. Do we feel it's appropriate for you to consider these on a case-by-case basis as opposed to making a blanket statement, no, we're going to change the hours? That is a subject that will be taken up by the city council as well, since they're the ones who established these initial hours. Again, your goal right here tonight is to look at this one location, okay, and determine whether or not an extension of hours is appropriate for this one location. Odds are, others are looking at it, they're going to be watching, they're going to be reading the newspaper tomorrow, okay, or watching the video tonight, and we will probably get more. So, but we've made it very clear coming out of from staff level, from the city attorney's position, as well as our position in community development, that we are going to be, if we're going to do this, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. We will not do anything globally unless we are instructed to do that by the city council.
Thank you.
Okay?
Any other questions for Kevin? I do have one question.
Yes.
The hours that were defined by city council, was that in, is that in the zoning code? Was that in an ordinance? Was that just?
No, that was established by the city council as part of the conditions of approval. They wanted, they made it very clear that as we were writing the conditions of approval for each of these, that they wanted us to maintain a level playing field, give everybody the same hours, and then see how things shook out. They had serious concerns because some of the older facilities, the medical facilities, their proximity to residential, their proximity to schools, their proximity to daycare centers and things like that, that they wanted to keep the hours very reasonable. In fact, if you may remember at one point, the city council actually backed off. The original recommendation was no Sunday hours at all. And they turned around and decided, no, we'll go ahead and grant limited hours on Sunday. Okay? But also keep in mind that the city council and the ordinance, the way it's written, there are 0 cannabis facilities allowed in the downtown district, 0 in the historic district, 0 in the railroad district. Those areas are currently prohibited for cannabis facilities unless they existed before the ordinance. And we have 1 or 2 that did. So they are there and locked in. But at this point in time, if you've been watching what's been going on at the city council level, what we're seeing is movement towards letting the industry shake itself out. And I think that's where we're headed industry-wide, not just here in Roswell, but industry-wide here, statewide. So, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of case 23-001? Come forward and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Yes, my name is Cody Fisher. My address is 6013 Tree Stand Point, Aubrey, Texas 76227.
Okay.
Thank you guys I feel really bad that, I'm the only reason that you guys are here, so sorry about that. But I did want to say, just from what Kevin said, we have talked to a lot of the retailers in Roswell, and they do, the 5 that we've talked to, they will be asking for these extended hours if we get them. And I just wanted to make a few points here, and then answer any questions. So first, we're in 13 cities right now. Roswell has the most restrictive hours out of any city that we're in, and I believe in the state. I don't know of another city that has the Sunday hours that low, but I could be wrong. But I know for our 13 cities that we're in, it is the most limited. These limited hours, they hurt law-abiding, hardworking citizens. When people need these products, when they have jobs, right, it is very tough when you limit those hours to the mid part of the day, right? Because a lot of people are working 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night, and then they have to figure out and work with their schedules to be able to get these products that they need. So from the first night from the first day that we opened, we had upset people that we had to shut the door on because of the hours. And we, of course, explained that we're following the rules, but we do believe that this is upsetting law-abiding citizens because of the restrictions. We've been open for about 3 months now. We haven't had any issues. With talking to other dispensaries, they have not had any issues with crime or homelessness, or, there hasn't been any issues at all. And I don't believe, I'm confident that raising these hours is not going to change anything besides making it more convenient for people to buy these products. Cannabis patients don't turn to crime just because they buy products at night, and so I really don't feel like this is going to be unsafe for the community at all. And I know one of the things that we were talking about is it's public safety, right? That's something that you guys are, we're always having to look out for. And I put some of those companies that are open till midnight, and when you look at public safety, right, there are a lot of studies that show when cannabis access opens up, alcohol and opioid abuse goes down, right? But in the city of Roswell, people are able to buy alcohol and liquor till midnight. They're able to be at bars until 2 a.m., which is not probably very good for the city, and so basically, we're asking to be treated like every other tax-paying business in this city. To people in our industry, it is very crazy that cannabis has more restrictions than alcohol, cigarettes, and opioids, which has killed millions of people. The last point that I'll make is just we respectfully ask that we are treated like every other tax-paying business in this city, that we are allowed to be open for our patients when they need us to be open. I know we put 10 to 10. We put that because that's what we're open in our other dispensaries and all the other cities. I believe one, we are only able to be open until 9 p.m. Even if we have to do a slow rollout where we extend a little bit and see how it goes, we are willing to work with the city to do whatever it takes to expand access to make sure that you guys feel comfortable with what we're doing, because we're not trying to put anybody at risk and we're not trying to harm anybody. We're simply just trying to be there for our patients. So thank you, and I'll take any questions that you guys have.
Any questions?
I have a question, mostly out of curiosity. In other municipalities where you operate, what are your typical hours that you're seeing?
We're 10 to 10.
10 to 10.
We have 9 stores open right now. 8 out of 9, we are 10 to 10. Farmington, they actually had limited hours in the beginning. Within a few weeks of us opening, they actually changed it and opened it up to 10 to 10 like the other cities. So yeah.
Thank you.
I just have one question. I noticed you've got a list of some of these other businesses. Are all these businesses open the same every day, those same hours every day?
I would have to look at that again. I believe so, that they are. The Sunday might be the exception, but I even know there was a new store that just opened up in our center, and they're selling, it's like a vape and smoke shop store, right? So they do have, a lot of the same products that we do, besides obviously the THC products, and they're open till 11, right next door to us.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, guys.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this case? Is there anybody online, Meredith? No? Being none, is there anybody wishing to speak against this case? Nope. Being none, any other discussion?
I do have one thing. I believe it was the city council that set the hours. I would recommend as a commission that we send this to city council with no recommendation. They are the ones that set the hours. If it's going to be changed, that the city council makes those changes.
Yeah, I know for me, I agree with you. I think they're the ones that set the rule, and I think they ought to decide if they're going to enforce it or keep it or change it. That's my opinion.
Either way, it's a recommendation on our part, one way or another. Yeah.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Jesse? Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Based on the land use and zoning considerations, finding of facts surrounding land use regulation established in the zoning ordinance and Chapter 27 of the Municipal Code, and testimony received this evening, I make a motion to forward this to City Council with no recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Jana and a second by Jesse to forward this to City Council with no recommendation from Planning and Zoning. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. So that's the end of our public hearing items. On other business, we had discussion on zoning ordinance text amendments.
I agree with them. At the end of the day, they're going to decide anyway. Black market. But it's just outside of our. Yeah, it's really not. Up to us.
Okay.
Well, then they're going to, rest assured, we recommend approval.
There's some weight to that also.
Why are we even sitting here? Let them deal with all.
There's some weight to that too.
There is. Go ahead, Kevin.
Are we ready? Okay, sorry about that. I was giving him the final instructions. Anyway. All right, a couple of things that I just wanted to bring to your attention. Again, this is instructions that we've been given by the city council. By we, I mean staff. Okay. With respect to the zoning ordinance amendments, they have asked us to slow down. Okay, we're evidently pushing things through a little quicker than certain groups can assimilate. Let's put it that way. In fact, Commissioner McDaniel, I sent you an email earlier today. We've got a number of things coming forward. Commissioner Lassard, I sent you an email on the forthcoming fugitive dust ordinance, as well as the amendments to the zoning and development code. They're asking us to take more input from the public before they don't believe that the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, legal committee hearing, and 2 city council hearings is enough. They would like us to go ahead and go direct to the public, so we are going to be holding a couple of outreach sessions this month. Once we get done with that, we will go ahead and push those items forward to the legal committee and then city council. In the meantime, we're going to start making other amendments to other portions of the zoning ordinance, but we will do public outreach before coming to the back to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So it'll probably be another month or two before you actually see another zoning ordinance amendment, but they are coming. It's just we're slowing down just a little bit, giving people an opportunity to adjust. We're also working on fee amendments and other things. There's a lot of things that, let's just say, staff's days are very, very busy right now. And me taking last week off didn't help. So we've got a lot to do, and it will be forthcoming. So, but expect that the agenda for February will probably be light as well, possibly even March, but back to a more busier agenda, certainly by April, and then moving forward from there. Okay? So, other than that, on to public comments.
Thank you, sir. Any public comments? Announcements? No? Being none, we are adjourned, 6:26.
Breaking records. That's
Thank you.
as fast as I've ever been in 6 years.